Poverty frustrates very many people. And it is important to understand that the spirit of poverty not only works with the very poor, poverty-stricken people in the countryside, it also works with people with jobs and with means. It also frustrates entrepreneurs and business people. Now, I've often heard people say that there are those who are born to be poor, and there's nothing you can do about it. They were just born like that, and they're destined to be poor. That is not true. Indeed, that is a contradiction of what is in the Bible. Yeah? And I'm going to prove that to you in a minute. And we're also going to discuss, and this should be very interesting for everybody, the most effective spiritual law to deal with poverty, to deal with the spirit of poverty. Now, I believe this is a very timely opportunity to release this video. This is the right time for it. Because we're heading towards the holiday season. Yeah, we're heading towards Christmas. And then after Christmas and the New Year will come January, or as some people prefer to call it, January. January. Where people are short of funds. You are not supposed to be short of funds in January. Yeah? The law which gives you prosperity does not have a January or a December or a September or a season. You are supposed to prosper at all times. Anyway, I believe that at the end of this video, you will understand January much, much better, and why it should not affect you. Now, trust me, I know most of you will be surprised at this statement I'm about to make, but it's absolutely 100% true. You are rich and prosperous from the day you were born. Notice I've used past tense. I'm not talking about now. I'm not saying you are rich and prosperous now. You was rich and prosperous from the day you were born. Okay? Let's go very quickly to Ephesians chapter 1, verse 3. And I read from the King James Version. Blessed be the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, who hath blessed us with all spiritual blessings in heavenly places in Christ. Verse 4. According as he hath chosen us in him before the foundation of the world, that we should be holy and without blame before him in love. Clearly you can see the past tense there. Yeah, you are supposed to be rich and prosperous. You were made rich and prosperous before you were born. So what happened? Let's go quickly to Matthew chapter 13, verse 25 to 30. Now this is a long passage, but it's very important. It explains everything. Yeah, and I read from the King James Version. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat, and went his way. And when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst not thou sow good seed in thy field? From whence then hath it tares? He said unto them, An enemy hath done it, hath done this. The servant said unto him, Wilt thou then we go and gather them up? But he said, Nay, lest while ye gather up the tares, ye root up also the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest. And in the time of the harvest, I will say to the reapers, Gather ye together first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. Now I've heard people blame God for being poor. Now let's just break down these two verses we've just read and understand why this kind of people are sending blame to the very wrong place. In fact, they're sending blame where they have already received their blessing of wealth and prosperity in everything they do. And I'll try and make this as simple as possible. Now, the spirit of poverty is evil. It frustrates. It steals from you. It does not come from God. So, of course, the next question is, why does God allow it? Good question. Yeah. Now, you'll remember in an earlier video, I told you that there's no evil spirit which enters this world, this earth, without the assistance of a human being. Evil spirits not only dwell in human beings, they are brought to this world by human beings. And those human beings use spiritual laws already set by God. They use spiritual laws to bring these evil spirits to the earth. So you're already blessed, you're already prosperous, but then these evil spirits come and they take away that. Indeed, the good book says the enemy only comes to kill, to steal, to destroy. The enemy does not create. Yeah, there's no creation in the house of the enemy, in the house of the devil. There's none. There is no wealth in the house of the enemy. There's no wealth in the devil. And so he steals yours. He steals your birthright. Now that you have understood the big picture, let's now come down to you. If you have a dream where somebody is trying to snatch your wallet, or a dream where you're picking coins on the ground, you're bowing down, those are not good dreams. And they're linked to poverty. Now, what I'm about to say is very important and very instructive. When somebody decides to bewitch you, what do they target most? They target your prosperity. Your prosperity is your money and your health. Instead of wasting time doing other things which will have minimal effect on you, they target that which will have maximum effect on you. Without money, you can do nothing. Without money, everything changes. You're reduced to a beggar. You're reduced to a hopeless human being, a desperate human being. Life cannot be enjoyable. How? You can't even think straight. You start thinking in a skewed manner. That is why you'll find young people going all over the place, desperately searching how they can join Illuminati, so that they get money. That is desperate and very skewed thinking. And here's why. If you have money in your account, you have money which is your birthright. A lot of money in the bank, but at the moment in your pocket, you have nothing. And to access the money in your bank, there are procedures. Nowadays, before you withdraw a huge amount of money from any bank, you have to explain the source. There are laws to prevent money laundering, which is usually linked to criminal activities, corruption or drug money. So there are procedures. You'll have to go and fill in a form. You'll have to wait. You'll be asked a few questions. But then finally, you will withdraw your money. But you decide this procedure is too long. So instead of going to the bank, you go to the best bank robbers in town. And you tell them, I want you to rob that bank for me. Now it sounds ridiculous, but that is exactly what those who go to the devil to get money do. Because the devil does not have money of his own. He needs to steal everything he gives you. Now your health is also linked to your money. Because without good health, you cannot work to make money. Without good health, you cannot claim your inheritance. The long and short of what I'm saying is that if you suspect you're a victim of witchcraft, your finances are definitely involved. You may also have a very good job, maybe earning 500, 600,000 shillings a month. But 3 or 4 days before your payment comes through, your salary comes through, you're borrowing money from your house help. 1,000 bob, 2,000 bob, 500 to put fuel in your car, or even to get a matatu to work. That is the spirit of poverty. Unexplained financial setbacks are also a sign of the spirit of poverty. Your friend imports a car into the country, it comes in okay. Another friend does the same, and then they give you the contact, the very same contact they've been using. And then you import your car. It's stolen. You never see it, or it never arrives. And you lose your money. I'm trying to move very quickly. but making sure that I cover all the important things. Now, the other effect of the spirit of poverty is something called the spirit of rejection. Now, we know the poor is rejected. Nobody wants to have anything to do with the poor. And even if you try very hard to get close to them, spirit of rejection will always work against such a relationship. But you come from a reasonably well-to-do family and you're looking for a job. And everywhere you go, you're rejected. And other people less qualified than yourself are taken for the job. And then finally, you get a job and you're told report on Monday. And then on Monday, you come very excited. And when you arrive on Monday, you're told, I'm sorry, there's a small problem. The human resources manager who's supposed to sign something has not reported today. So you just come on Wednesday, we'll have sorted it out. And you come on Wednesday and you're given another story. And then the job just disappears like that. You never get to start this job. And yet you got it. Yeah, the spirit of rejection is very frustrating. Now there's something else which is less noticeable, which comes with the spirit of poverty. And it's called the spirit of sympathy. Now, the first time I heard about this spirit, I found it very funny. Yeah, it was a joke. But actually, this spirit is not a joke. It is extremely destructive. Okay? Now, I'll tell you why I found it funny. Let me just give you an example. From the community where my father came from. From when I was young, I used to notice this a lot. Somebody gets sick and they start feeling better. In fact, they are well on their way to recovery. And so these people come to visit them. So the man starts describing, or the woman starts describing, how sick they were. I was very sick. In fact, at one moment, I thought I was going to die. And the people who are listening are giving the man a lot of sympathy. They're even making noises like, pole, pole. And you look at the face of the person who's recovering, and they're drinking in all this sympathy. They're soaking it in. It's like they're really enjoying it. And more often than not, they'll even exaggerate. I tried to go to the toilet and then I fell off the bed and I hurt my leg. People are saying, and the man is drinking in the sympathy, is drinking it in. He seems to really enjoy it. That is the spirit of sympathy. And the spirit of sympathy stops you from ever getting out of poverty. Because its mission is to make sure that people keep on feeling pity for you, and giving you sympathy. How will they give you sympathy when you become rich? You need to remain very poor for the sympathy to continue coming your way. Now, spirits of sympathy are very common in generational poverty. Poverty that has been handed down from generation to generation to generation. Now, the truth is, poverty is so devastating that if somebody has played witchcraft against you, has done witchcraft, that evil against you, it will be extremely difficult to deal with that witchcraft until first of all you deal with poverty. It is very simple human psychology. A person who is hungry is not capable of straight thinking. In fact, they are not capable of anything productive, that is. In the previous video I did about witchcraft, people asked me, what about if I don't know who has done this to me? What do I do? Actually, the truth is, it's not even important to know who has done this against you. What is important is to deal with it immediately. And the place to start is by dealing with the spirit of poverty. So let us go right away into dealing with poverty. And the way to deal with it is to release the spirit of prosperity into your life. Indeed, your birthright. And we're going to do this using a very powerful spiritual law. And that spiritual law can be found in Proverbs chapter 11, verse 24 and 25. Let me read it. There is that scattereth and yet increaseth, and there is that withholdeth more than is meet, but it tendeth to poverty. The liberal soul shall be made fat, and he that watereth shall be watered also himself. Now, many of you may already be very familiar with this passage in the Bible. Yeah. However, there's always been a very big wall blocking most people from even taking a closer look at this particular spiritual law. Yeah. And we're going to remove that wall today. That wall refers to giving. Yeah, this is about giving. Yeah, if you are mean and withhold, you'll be poor. If you give, you will receive. It's a spiritual law. Now, the issue here, of course, is giving. Yeah, I don't have any money. I'm very poor. Give. What do I give? I have nothing to give. I'm supposed to receive as much as possible. I need many years of receiving before I'm in a position to give. And this blocks so many people, and they just sink back into poverty. Now, the first thing you must know, which is extremely important, giving includes money, yes, but it is not only money. So what else can you give? Well, to answer your question, I'll ask you another question. What do you have? Now, every human being comes to this earth with something. Some people call that thing a gift. Some people call it your destiny. Some people call it your calling. It is usually something that you enjoy doing. Now, the problem is, many of us don't know what our gift is and what our calling is. However, if you're one of those lucky ones who know, then the quickest way out of the spirit of poverty is to give what you've been given for free. So if you have a gift for repairing electronics, yeah, and maybe you've repaired your sister's phone, your brother's phone, start repairing for people for free. Now I can already hear the complaints. Aye, Chris, free? How? Well, it's not me. It's what the spiritual law says. The liberal soul shall be made fat. If you give, you'll be made fat with what you'll receive. Now, let me give you a few examples from real life. You know, I've always said on this channel that spiritual laws apply to everybody. And wherever you are, if you practice a spiritual law, definitely you're going to receive the results. And that is not a maybe. You may receive, maybe you might. No, you will definitely receive. 2 days ago, I met a young man, who comes from the Kibwezi area. A very poverty-stricken young man. He barely finished primary school, and then he dropped off at Form 1, Form 2. No school fees. His older brother, whom he was staying with in Nairobi, kicked him out of his house. And he had nowhere to go. So he ended up at this place where people were fetching water. You know, there's a huge problem of water in most parts of East Africa. So as most of the people were coming with their jerrycans, they were asking, can you please look after the water for me? And so suddenly he found he had a job, looking after the water, as it poured onto the jerrycans, sometimes very slowly, and putting them aside and putting in the next jerrycan. And nobody was paying him for it. Right next to where he was doing this activity, somebody started a car wash. And you know, water mostly comes at night. So he told these people, don't worry, I'll look after your equipment which you leave here at night. Of course it's locked up, but still people break in. I'll look after the place at night for you. And in the morning at 6 or 7 when you come in, I will go and sleep. After all, I'm here most of the night looking at the water, looking after jerrycans of water for people. Now remember that both activities he was doing absolutely for free. But the spiritual law kicked in. The people he looked after the water for gave him something small, a few coins here and there, but they accumulated. And he was able to have at least 1 meal a day. To cut a very long story short, today, that young man has a job where he gets a salary at the end of the month. And that is the guard of that car wash. And not only that, he also engages in washing the cars and is paid for each car he washes. He is now earning the equivalent of 800 Kenya shillings a day. That is 24,000 Kenya shillings. I know some people who sit in offices the whole month who don't earn that. Yet another example, a close friend of mine when we left school decided to volunteer for a computer company. And then computer companies were very new. He started off serving tea, running errands, going to fetch spare parts, etc., etc. Today, he owns a computer consultancy company, his own. Now, if you want to know how powerful this spiritual law is, let me give you an example from big business. Google is a search engine. I hear other people say it's pronounced Google. But let me pronounce it the Kenyan way. Google is a multi-billion-dollar company. But they started off giving free services. And they gave free services for a very long time, over a year. And they kept on perfecting their search engine, while finding a way to earn revenue from it. It took them some time to find a way to generate revenue from it. So, what you need to do to break from the spirit of poverty is to start giving. And you give whatever you have. And you don't look to the person you are giving, to receive. You look at the universe, because this is a spiritual law. You will receive in return. It doesn't matter from where. If you are very poverty-stricken and you don't have anything to do, get busy right away, today, doing something. Preferably something you're good at, something that you enjoy doing. The spirit of poverty withholds in very amazing ways, fails to give. I'll give you an example. There was this young man, a friend of mine was helping him to get a job, and this guy talked to a friend of his, and he said, fine, I'll help your young brother. Just send me his CV, I look at where his strengths are, but meanwhile I already have 1, 2, 3 for him to do. Now the response of this young jobless man, I don't know, it just amazed me. He stubbornly refused to send his CV. Why? Because he said, if you send your CVs to people you don't know, they will steal your CV. Now, I still have no idea what that means. Maybe some of you will educate me. How people can steal your CV and use it as their own. But my point is, this young man was so stingy that even giving his CV was a huge issue. Anyway, anybody out there who is jobless, from today, get busy doing something. And start by totally forgetting about the money and focusing on what you're giving, the quality of what you're giving. Not only will you be breaking the spirit of poverty, with the most powerful prosperity law, but you will also definitely receive. Now, sometimes you will not realize what you have until you start giving. When I started this channel, I really didn't know what I had. Political analysis here and there, and it was free. It's on YouTube. And then after a while, I realized that actually I had a lot to give. Much later, I realized that even some of what I had to give, people were prepared to pay money for. And then recently, some spiritual knowledge I have, which I thought, I didn't think much of, has turned out to be very, very valuable for very many people. And the truth is, when I started giving, I had nothing. I was also a victim of witchcraft. And definitely, as you have said, if you're a victim of witchcraft, definitely your finances are involved. It is only, I think last week but one, that I realized actually I had practiced this law. I had implemented this spiritual law without knowing what I was doing. If you have some specific special knowledge, start a YouTube channel. Give out the knowledge to people, especially if it's very valuable knowledge, which it's not easy to get anywhere else. Just give it. Don't assume, because there's somebody somewhere out there who needs what you have. Give it out for free. What you'll be doing, you will be releasing the spirit of prosperity to subdue the spirit of poverty. that's exactly what you're going to be doing. Many people have many things in the house that they don't need. Old clothes, old phones, old what. Give them out. Yeah, give them out to people and don't expect to receive from those people. Just give them out. Scatter them so that you can increase. It's a law. It's not me who said it. It's a spiritual law. Clothes for your last born. Yeah. You are thinking that you're not sure, maybe in another 10 years you'll have another baby, or in another 5 years. So you're holding on to those clothes. Hey, yeah, you know what that means. Yeah, because the spiritual law tells us very clearly. When you withhold, it tendeth to poverty. There are many children out there, poverty-stricken children, who will really appreciate those clothes for Christmas. God dish them out. Who knows you're going to have another baby? Or even if you do, you'll be so prosperous by that time, you'll buy them something more fancy than what you're giving out. So give it out. And most of all, whatever your situation is, never feel pity for yourself. Remember Spirit of Sympathy? Resist every thought that comes to your mind of feeling pity for yourself, of attracting pity to yourself. It will not help you. That is a twin brother to the spirit of poverty. Resist him. Folks, go out there and prosper, because it is your birthright. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.